Here we are, one take video, even though I'm probably going to edit. Oh well. Hello FingTBAers. I'm going to tell you about my life, recently. Okay. 3 days after my 18th birthday. So, that's 3 days after you guys met me. My dad told me that he had been going to Oklahoma City for some tests, and that those tests told him that he had a really rare, obscure type of throat cancer. And being my father, it couldn't be something common and easy to treat. It had to be really obscure and unusual and really hard to try to fix. Because it was in between a couple arteries and really close to some important nerves, and so they couldn't do surgery. He needed to do radiation. And so he would go to Oklahoma City. He got a hotel room there. And he would drive down and get his radiation and then drive back up here at the end of the week. In fact, when I was going down to meet John and Hank, it was actually, I was taking my dad to Oklahoma City for one of his treatments for 1 week. Anyway, he did radiation, and he didn't do well with that. He was in a lot of pain, and it just tore up his throat, and so he couldn't drink things. And he had to get a food peg, a feeding tube, put in, because he couldn't swallow anything. He finished treatments 2 or 3 months ago, I don't remember. And he was so ready to be done. He was in so much pain, and really down on the world. And he was just ready to get better, and it was a healing process, and so he didn't get better immediately. And so he was really depressed, like really depressed, and just in a dark place and down in the world. And he was supposed to be starting to drink water again, and, you know, start that movement back up through, you know, liquids and soft foods back up to being, you know, regular health again. But he didn't. He wasn't able to swallow without it just being incredibly painful. But the doctor said that he had taken the radiation a lot better than they expected, so I can only imagine what type of pain they expected him to be in. So after that, my dad, he was really down in the world. Last Monday, 10 days ago I guess, he was supposed to go back to Oklahoma City for a scan to make sure they got all of the tumors. But since he wasn't swallowing, there was an infection that got into his inside of his cheek. You know, so there was nothing there to keep it out. So they had to postpone it. But he got his scan, I think. And he had moved in with my grandma, just so that he had companionship, because he was really kind of depressed, and just so he could have someone help with something, or remind him to take his meds. Although he's weird and anal, and he would not have forgotten to take his meds. Like, he woke up every 2 hours, so he also wasn't getting much sleep. But last Thursday, I guess that was 8 days ago, my grandma called the ambulance because he was really weak and having a hard time breathing. And so they took him to the ER, and they got him all plugged in and got his oxygen mask on, and they think he had pneumonia. I spent most of Thursday evening with my grandma and my mother in the ER, waiting for him to get situated. And then that night I went home and got whatever sleep I could, and then woke up the next morning to take finals. My mom said that she was really proud of me for being able to do that. But I ended up getting a 97.4 on my math finals, so that was cool. So they put him that day, that Friday, last week, exactly a week ago actually, they put him into the ICU, and they took off his oxygen mask and had to intubate him. So he had a tube down his throat, and he couldn't move around or cough or anything because that would disturb the airflow, and so they had to give him drugs to paralyze him. So he's basically in a med coma, and they put ointment in his eyes because they were still kind of half open, so that they wouldn't dry out or get septic. And I went up after finals. I went up to the ICU to visit him, and I ended up spending more time there than I did at school that day because it was a half day for finals. Side note, I went to England, the British Isles. I went there in 5th grade with Liz, actually, for a student ambassador thing, which was a lot of fun. And I kept a really detailed journal. We were supposed to keep journals because we were going to turn them in for high school credit, and I kept the most detailed journal because I didn't want to forget anything. Turns out I didn't turn it in for high school credit, so whatever. But when I came home, my parents were full of questions, you know. Hey, let's talk about everything. And I was like, whoa, guys, I am way tired. And so I was like, I'm going to sleep, and then you can ask me whatever questions you want to, and we'll just spend a full day and talk about everything. But we never did. And so it's been this big joke between me and my dad. I heard you went to England, you know, things like that. And so when I went up to visit him on Friday, I brought that journal because, you know, he's in a med coma. He doesn't have any pressing engagements. And he was probably, you know, really bored staring at the same spot on the ceiling. So I figured as long as he has time and I'm going to be up there with him, why not read to him, you know? And so I did, and it was really great because I went back through for the first time since I got back in 5th grade, and it was great looking back and explaining things to him and talking about inside jokes, and it was wonderful. And when I finally finished, I don't know if I was imagining it or if it was the ointment, or I mean, they say the body functions still work when he's that way, so I don't know, but it looked like he was crying. And he might have been. I don't know. But my father died that night. My father passed away last week. And I found out at 1 in the morning on Saturday. And then at 6 that morning I had to get up to go to regionals for speech and debate. That was a hard day to be funny. But I took 3 events, and all 3 of those events qualified for state. I ended up getting 5th place in one, 2nd place in another, and I am the regional champion of the 3rd. So I ended up doing alright. I'm sure he's proud of me. Anyway, his memorial service was today, which is why I'm dressed like that. This is his tie, actually. Got my Kairos cross. But that's why I've been so snippy, and that's why I've been short, and I'm sorry if I've been moody or down, and I'm sorry that I've missed my videos. I still have 2 weeks ago's videos, and as soon as I can throw that together, I'm going to post it. And then in my next one, I'll do the challenge with the accent. I'll do all of that. Just right now is, you know, not a good time. So I'm sorry that I've been short with you guys, and I really shouldn't have been, because you guys have been so incredibly amazing. I just wanted to say thank you for you all being so wonderful, being just a completely amazing, constant dosage of awesome. I can't express to you how much you guys mean to me, and Noor and Michelle especially, because I told Noor already, and Michelle found out on her own. You guys have been wonderful. I love you. Thank you. So I'm sorry, and I'll get things back up, and I just wanted to let you know what's been going on, and to thank you. I'd say DFTBA, although it's obvious that you haven't. So, thank you.